I'm 23 years old and still reside with my folks. One day, with both of them out, I found myself outside, engaged in a game of basketball in the front yard. As I played, my gaze shifted towards an upstairs window, catching sight of a woman standing there. It wasn't my mother or sister. She was a complete stranger. Upon realizing I noticed her, she swiftly retreated from the window. Intrigued and slightly uneasy, I ventured inside and upstairs to investigate. To my surprise, the mysterious woman was nowhere to be found. I meticulously combed through every room, bedroom, bathroom, closet, and even the downstairs area, encompassing the living room, kitchen, dining room, and more closets. Finally, I reluctantly checked the basement, although I doubted she could be there given its limited hiding spots. To my apprehension, upon opening the second closet door, I discovered it packed with coats and hangers, leaving me perplexed. I couldn't dismiss the vivid image of the woman I saw earlier. Returning to the middle floor, I screamed, demanding that whoever was in the house leave immediately. The commotion attracted our next-door neighbor who, concerned, inquired about my well-being. I recounted the unsettling encounter, and he assisted in a thorough search. When our efforts proved fruitless, I speculated that she must have slipped out through the unlocked back door, which I had opened to retrieve the basketball. After my neighbor left, I secured all the doors, called my parents to share the bizarre incident, and ensured nothing valuable was missing. Thankfully, all valuable items were intact. Fast forward to that night, I attempted to sleep after another round of checking the house for peace of mind. Rest eluded me as my mind raced, given the unusual events. Just as I began to drift away, I heard peculiar noises. The room wasn't silent due to the fan above me, so I initially ignored the sounds. However, they soon became more human-like. Turning to the other side, I was horrified to see the same woman emerging from under my bed. I screamed louder than before, leaped out of bed, and apprehended her with my hand around her throat, demanding answers. The doorbell rang. My neighbor once again. I dragged the woman to the front door, enduring scratches that left scars on my arm. We restrained her with my neighbor's help, and I called the police. Throughout the wait, she continued screaming and threatening us, displaying signs of substance withdrawal. When the police arrived, one officer identified her as a familiar face named Karen, known for previous encounters. Witnessing her being led into the police car was oddly satisfying. I expressed gratitude to my neighbor for his swift assistance. That night, despite lingering unease, a strange sense of satisfaction overcame me. This is the tale of the night when my life hung in the balance. A harrowing experience during my childhood while home alone. A night filled with chaos and danger. We were a family of 5. At the time, I was a 10-year-old, with my older sibling being 14, and our little sister merely 5 years old. The setting was a Friday night, and my older brother was out with friends, engaged in mischief. Trouble struck when a dreaded phone call interrupted our evening, and my parents' faces turned grave. I recall being in my room, engrossed in a Star Wars video game, when the atmosphere suddenly shifted. My mother, in a state of distress, was on the phone with the hospital, relaying the shocking news that my brother had been hit by a car. We were all shaken, and fear gripped us. While my brother's leg was broken, the full extent of his injuries remained unclear. In the rush to reach the hospital, my parents, laden with concern, left me alone at home after ensuring I felt capable of handling the situation. I couldn't fathom visiting the hospital, preferring not to witness my brother in any distress. My parents likely shared this sentiment but couldn't leave my 5-year-old sister alone. It's noteworthy that my brother eventually recovered, rendering his injury irrelevant to the events that unfolded that fateful Friday night. Before departing, my father attempted to reassure my distressed mother, promising that everything would be okay. Witnessing his efforts to calm her down provided me with a glimmer of reassurance amid the chaos. Left alone, I immersed myself in the Star Wars game for a few more hours until the front door creaked open well past midnight. Aware that it was well past my bedtime, I powered down the TV and PlayStation, retreating to bed with my Game Boy. Curiosity got the better of me, and I strained to hear my parents' voices or catch any news about my brother. The absence of sound heightened my unease. Stealthily opening my bedroom door, I tiptoed to the banister overlooking the darkened living room. To my horror, 3 unfamiliar figures stood there. They were not family members. Petrified, I retreated into my room, attempting to shut the door quietly. The fear-fueled click echoed louder than intended, and I knew they might have heard. In a panic, I sought refuge in my closet, positioning myself behind piles of clothes and boxes, hoping to remain unseen. The suspense felt eternal as I anticipated the bedroom door opening. When it did, I heard footsteps approaching my bed and the rustling of my covers, followed by an unsettling silence. The footsteps then shifted toward the closet, and dread consumed me. The door creaked open, and I held my breath, frozen in fear. The intruder seemed to linger for an agonizing 20 seconds before finally closing the door, walking away, and leaving the room. Only after an hour did I muster the courage to emerge from my hiding spot. I rushed downstairs to find my parents had returned. The front door was ajar, evidence of the break-in that had occurred in their absence. Our home had been ransacked, and valuable possessions were stolen. That night, our family's ordeal had taken a turn for the worse. In their haste to reach the hospital, my parents had neglected to lock the door, making me fortunate to have escaped potential harm or abduction. Reflecting on that traumatic experience, I wonder if the intruder who opened the closet had spotted me hiding. Perhaps he was merely a burglar, not intending to harm or abduct a child. It's a night that went from bad to worse, leaving an indelible mark on our family's history.